Hello and welcome to a reading that is probably something I've never done before. And I was thinking I would do one on specifically Pluto. Now, for those who know, Pluto is in Aquarius right now. So that means I want to kind of look at it collectively and how Pluto is as a familiar archetype for me, the Sun-Pluto conjunction in my birth chart. We're going through a lot of ego death, but I'm wanting to specify through what's called the dwads. I find the dwads are kind of super fun because it goes really into the specifics of how how a planet transitions or how it affects that sign it's in, but in a more specific colored sign, so colored way. So what I mean by this is, so Pluto is in Aquarius, right? Okay, great. So it's affecting us in a very, massive scale. We're going through a lot of, shit transformation, transmutation, sort of like muck, sort of like just really like that sort of chrysalis effect. And we're just kind of going through a rebirth. Everything has to die away and it has to be reborn. So it goes through the cycle. It also affects us on a very instinctive, subconscious level. So because it's very ground based to, like, if you think of viruses, bacteria, fungi, the mycelial network, that is very Pluto. If you think about trauma, rape, pillage, wars, but more like nuclear sort of effect, it's very massive, it's volcanic. So that's very Pluto. It's a high vibration of Mars, so it's not exactly like direct fighting, it's not direct aggression, it's not direct initiative, it is not direct, it is not direct pain, accidents, those kind of things. It's more subtle, it's quite subtle, it's very, I wouldn't say necessarily subtle, but it is subtle, but it's very like, it bides its own time. It is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to go through a list. I actually went through specific lists. I'm going to show it to you if I can. No, it's just a list. Okay, so I'm just going to state some of them. Hopefully you can hear this and you want to take note of this. If you want to, go ahead. So the first few dates, first that I got was I decided to go look at the ephemeris. And I said, where does Pluto get into these specific points, the dwad? So again, just to clarify, pardon me my rawness, that's how it is. It's a Pluto thing. Okay. So when Pluto entered Aquarius, the shift started to happen. It was kind of gradual. Pluto is very subtle. Pluto is very insidious. That's the word I was looking for. But come February, or rather what happened this year, 2025, February 16th, Pluto entered Pisces. And we're talking about an entry point. Every single time it goes through, every single year, Pluto does retrograde. So it pulls back and then it goes stationary. And then it goes, I believe it goes stationary for some of these points. And then it switches back into direct. So it goes stationary and direct. So for those who don't know what that is, it just means that the planet kind of holds back a little bit. It stays where it is. It doesn't completely move yet. It kind of stays back. So every time there's a retrograde portion of the transitions or transits or the movement of planets, it means that there's a focus. Teal Swan says she calls it a focus. So it's like, makes total sense, right? So retrograde is really about kind of going back through, what else do I have to learn? You don't want to kind of jump into anything. That's why when you hear the word Mercury retrograde, it's like, I can't make any plans. But it doesn't, because it's to focus back on your thoughts, your communication, all that stuff. Okay, so don't make plans. But if you do make plans, know that there's something pulling you back as well. But that's not what we're here for. So Pluto in these points will be where it goes into the entry point, and it'll be specifically what society will be going through as humans are going through. So February 16, 2025, it went into Pisces. So what does that mean? So yes, we already know that Pluto is about transitions. Pluto is about not transition, transformation. So it's all about entering that sort of facing our monsters, getting into the shadow, the underworld, what is hidden from plain view, any sort of waste that we haven't taken care of, any sort of corruption, atomic power, crime, corruption, phobias, obsessions, slow growth, birth, death, rebirth, you know that, isolation, okay, this is a common theme of Pluto, coercion, okay, disappearance, kidnapping, anonymity, bacteria, virus, fungi, I mentioned that, generation or regenerational or degenerational things, alchemy, this is an important one too, elimination. So people who are Sun Pluto people often will find themselves very good at cleaning up garbage, okay, elimination, metamorphosis, secretly developed, undercover, plumbing, just dictatorships, those kind of stuff, unpopular things, so being kind of the underdog, okay, that's very Pluto. Exclusivity, pondering, inevitable things. So surgeries, doctors, undertakers, nuclear physicists, nuclear physics, metaphysics, psychology, psychiatry, management, sort of those kind of things. But generally, these are the definitions of what Pluto is. So it's about regeneration, destruction, restructuring, fusion, okay, and becoming whole. So this is also where we have complexities and where we have problems that are not without any help, okay. So, but through the signs, as dwad signs, not just main signs, but through the signs, I'll kind of go through it myself. So when it transitioned into the about past the around this what is this 2 minutes and 2 degrees and 30 minutes of Aquarius, it had this undertone of Pisces in it, so which means that there's a lot of disillusion going on there, a lot of things that we're having to learn, like to be more compassionate with ourselves. Today it's still happening, it's still going to happen throughout the whole until come 2026. So this will be a feeling of like things are kind of vague, people will be escaping things, people will be getting more into art, and there's things that we escape towards, music, okay, things that will be affecting us also as our kind of like our balance, and sort of like, you know, going on working with our feet. That could also mean that, you know, we're trying to get on our feet, moving, dancing, doing music, but it also has an effect on certain people with the lymphatic system, pituitary gland. Now, because these are dwads, I would say this is a bit more general, but it is kind of adding a layer to the Aquarian feel already that's already there. What is this with Aquarius? Because in Aquarius in general, it just means that people are becoming more independent, inventive, tolerant, possibly more towards acceptance. Individualism is strong, okay, progressions, uniqueness, science is being big thing, of course, being more into logic, humane things, the intellect, altruism, but it also could mean, depending on the other planets, if it's a square to them, if it's an opposition, or even a conjunction, things might come out unpredictable, temperamental, people might feel temperamental, I've seen that already so many times, bored by detail, okay, people are kind of cold to each other, too fixed in their opinions, eccentric, radical, impersonal, rebellious. Add the Pisces level that started in 2026, February 16 of this year, 2025, we have things that are more kind of pulled down a little bit. So on the positive note, meaning positively positioned, if you have Pluto, let's say, in a trine or sextile and other positively aspected planets to Pluto, This feeling might add to the whole thing I said about being inventive and being kind of all that stuff. There's a layer of compassion towards it, sympathy, creativity, charity, emotional awareness, okay? But there also could be, introspection as well, and intuition. But there also might be a tendency to escape, be over talkative. People, I've seen it all the time. Pessimism, inhibited or emotionally inhibited, timid, impractical, indolent, probably feeling misunderstood, okay? Those kind of things. Let's see what else we have here. People might go into certain places like where there's a lot of water, okay? People might even get into things like eating lighter, getting into things like things that are watery substances like juice, maybe to a point alcohol. So there's this sort of tendency that humans get into escapism towards any sort of light eating, any sort of addictions as well, possibly close to that one as well. Things on the basic level, on the mundane level, a lot of the oceans are affected by this as well. Okay, so all sea animals will be affected by this one. Okay, so again, people might be more drawn to vegetables with high water content. Okay, places that are big in this time of this Pluto in Aquarius might be towards. Let's see, 1 second here. Might be towards places like Portugal, the Sahara, Scandinavia, France, especially Normandy, Spain, Seville, North America, especially Vermont and Hollywood, Alexandria, Warsaw, Jerusalem. So places where there's a lot of water, marshes, springs, fish ponds, places where there's a lot of water. Water mills is also part of this one. Moats, okay? Any places, not necessarily harbor, but actually in close to the sea area or big surface area. Not necessarily all types of water, but sort of moving water, I would say. Okay. Now, in the next date that comes through will be March 20, which moves 2026, which will move it to Aries. So again, it'll be that Aquarian feel to it, but it'll also be a feeling of new beginnings, because it's going to be new things. It's going to be sort of quite going to feel kind of impulsive. Courage will be kind of like we're trying to find our courage to be more independent. Kind of is already Aquarius thing. It's already an Aquarius thing. Living in the present. Okay. But if it is in a negative aspect to other planets, there might be a sense of like, quick-temperedness, violence. Okay, it's just part of the whole process too. Me first attitude, being brisk, but also lacking follow-through. I might kind of just be curious about one thing, be kind of rushed towards the whole thing. But that's part of the process, and that's okay. But it'll be kind of like a feel of a fresh start to a certain degree. It'll be like a new potential, something that will happen. Okay. Let's see here. People might get more headaches, things of the face. Watch out for your glands, your adrenal and suprarenal glands. So this is, I believe, tied to your, what is this one called? The endocrine system. Something to do with the being able to metabolize. So your metabolism. But it also could mean like stress. So 2026, that's another year. Dragons may be a theme there, because dragons rule Aries. Okay. On a more mundane level, it'll feel like, again, because it's new, it's kind of like spring. Right? Places that might kind of pop out a little bit more are places like England, Germany, Israel, France, especially Burgundy, Italy, especially Florence, Naples, and Padua, which is, I believe, part south of Italy, or is it north of Italy? Poland, especially Krakow. North America, especially Las Vegas and New Brunswick, sorry, not New Brunswick, I'm Canadian, sorry. Okay. Places were capital cities. Big one. Capital cities might feel this. Sporting facilities. Anywhere there's sporting stuff. Athletes might be affected by this. Anywhere there is cultivated land. Newly cultivated land. High ceilings. Those include high ceilings and stables. Okay. So, that's a feel of the March 20, 2026. Then February 20, 2028, Taurus. You'll have this feeling like it's going to kind of settle in a little bit. There'll be more patience, more conservatism, feel more drawn to farming or domestic things, beautiful things. Maybe people feel more dependable to each other. Okay, back to art though. You'll be more comfortable. If there are negative placements, again, square, oppositions, or even conjunctions to other planets, people might feel kind of stubborn about things, slow, maybe even to a point of dogmatism to a certain degree, because it is Aquarius still, being set in your ways. Okay. Watch out for greed, materialism. Okay, but that's a lesson for us to learn. Okay, might affect us on a physical level. The throat, neck, and area, vocal cords, ears, thyroid glands. Okay. One second here. On a more mundane level, either will be places like Cyprus, Iran, the Greek islands, Switzerland, Turkey, Ireland, especially Dublin, Germany, especially Leipzig, Italy, especially Manto, Parma, and Palermo, and North America, especially St. Louis. Anywhere there's luxury hotels, places where there's a lot of comfort. Okay, art as well as part of that one. Excellent food, gently rolling countrysides. Stables is still part of this one. Cellars and low rooms, furniture shops, and markets. As it goes into March 27, 2029, goes into a dwad sign of Gemini. Again, remind you, this is a dwad thing. Still in Aquarius. Okay, so there might be a sense of split, duality. This is probably when people are starting to sense the split itself of the world, of this world, between the Aquarian Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus, so there would be a split between conservatism and progress. Not in a general way, okay, but it also could be the old and the new. Okay, so when it's Gemini dwad for Aquarius, it probably could mean that people will feel kind of quick-witted, or goes back to literature, high dexterity, a lot of mind stuff, cleverness, curiosity. But in a negative aspect to Pluto, if any planets are a negative aspect to Pluto, it'll be too scatterbrained. Like you might feel kind of very restless, very kind of lacking in concentration, or overly talkative, just like in Pisces too. Okay, right now it's happening. A lot of people are talking a lot, just like I am right now. Okay, birds might be a common thing. The other ones with the previous there might be, because it's slow, so there might be slow-moving animals like elephants, heavy animals, especially bulls, hooved animals, probably is also a Taurus thing. Okay, but with Gemini, it's probably the birds, monkeys, butterflies. Okay, will be part of the process, and in terms of not only how we feel, but these animals might provide some sort of meaning as well. The reason I'm mentioning the animals, because there's something to it. Okay. People might snack on things a little bit more. People might feel like they would snack on things. With Taurus and Aries, it'll be more like Aries. Probably, if you're going back to Aries, people might feel like they're more into spicy things, things that are exciting. With Taurus, again, it's simple food, not too spicy. Gemini will go back into a bit of that spicy, but it'll be more like snacking, eating small things. Vegetables will be kind of going back. Okay. Places: Armenia, Sardinia, Belgium, North America, especially New York and San Francisco. England, especially London. Italy, especially Lombardy. Spain, especially Cordoba. Germany, especially Nuremberg. Okay. So anywhere there's city centers, hills, mountains, barren places, barns, storehouses, coffers, trunks, and chests, playhouses, dining rooms, schools, that's a big one. Okay. Also on the streets, called local street areas, snack shops, candy shops might be part of that as well. March 2, 2031 goes into Cancer. Okay. Where it's going to be a little bit more on the water level. Okay. People will feel a bit more tenacious, intuitive, maternal, maybe more domestic, sensitive for sure. Just like in Pisces as well right now. But more grounded with their emotions. Helpful as well. Sympathetic, emotional, good memory. Memories will have probably things that are accessing more of the memory stuff. Probably going to the past as well. Okay. People may be like drawn to the past even more. That is an aspect of Aquarius as well. Brooding, but on the negative level, meaning any square or opposition or even conjunction to Pluto, there might be brooding, touchiness, touchy-feely, easily hurt, being negative, manipulativeness, being too cautious, lazy, probably even self-centered. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying, on self-pity as well. Watch out for those things. Things that might be affected are the breast area, nipples, lymphatic system. Especially for women, this might be a time that's probably a little bit stronger for women. This also includes the cisgender and transgender. Okay? Alimentary canal, I forgot what that is. That's on a physical level. A mundane level, meaning the world. Oh yeah, by the way, this is also to do with water. So people might go into things that are watery content stuff. A lot of vegetables, fruits. Also seafood. Places in the world. Canada, okay, Scotland, Mauritius, the Netherlands, especially Amsterdam, Venice in Italy, Istanbul in Turkey, and New York City. Anywhere that's peaceful near water. I would say it probably includes harbors on that as well, but not really. Navigable waters, like large seas and large rivers and seas. Houses near water, lakes, springs, ditches, wells, marshy grounds, cellars and laundries. Almost there. April 14, Leo. April 14, 2032 in Leo. It'll add a feeling of drama, okay, because of the heightened feelings you got from Cancer. It'll feel like there's more drama, okay. Might be idealism, optimism, ambition, creativity, creation, dignity or something like that. Maybe romanticism. Romance will be in the air again. People will be more open to relationships, a love, romantic relationship. Sort of generosity will be there. On a negative level, okay, there might be vanity, childishness, overbearingness, fears of being ridiculed, okay, saving face, okay, autocracy or pretense, boastfulness, cruelty. But that doesn't mean that it's going to really happen. I'm just saying these are all things that I'm reading. So things of the heart, spine and lower back will be affected by this one. Because Leo is another fire sign, it's another spark of something else. It's a starting point. Fire signs always represent initiative, starting points of life. Okay. So there might be things of color that are more on the golden yellow colors, orange and red green. I don't know if that's going to be a huge effect on people. Let's see here. People will be more into things that make them feel good, but more like rich foods. Doesn't have to be necessarily vegetables. It could be back to meat, but I don't know. There's a switch happening. So, but anyways, things like walnuts also is included here. Honey, spinach, kale, watercress. Again, rich foods. Okay. Places in the world. As Rome in Italy. Okay. The Riviera in France. Okay. Prague in Czech Republic. Turkey itself as a whole. Southern Iraq. Lebanon, Bohemia, Mumbai in India, Chicago, Philadelphia in North America. Anywhere there's exclusive resorts, jungles, woods, forests, deserts, inaccessible places. Anywhere near fire, furnaces, castles. That's a big one. Anywhere where we feel kind of like royalty, high and up there kind of thing. Okay? March 18, 2034. It goes into Virgo. Okay, so this will be more back to kind of like the workplace, kind of a bit like Gemini. Okay, on a positive note, it'll be like people will feel might be more industrious, studious, scientific. Kind of ties in a lot with the Aquarius placement. Be more discriminating, fact-finding, exacting, clean, humane, and perfectionist. Okay, on a negative sort of perspective or placements, it could be that people might get a little bit more critical, petty, melancholy, worrying too much, a bit more fearful of things than before, maybe. I don't know. Again, remember, this is the future, so I don't know. Pedanticalness, watch out for that, being picky, sloppy, or skeptical. Things of the body that will be affected: abdomen, intestines, spleen, central nervous system. Okay. Again, vegetables are still part of this one. So lots of vegetables, including wheat, barley, oats, rice, rye, potatoes, carrots, turnips, plantain, okay, blackberries, nuts, again. Okay, because it is Virgo as well, it could also be tied to snacking as well, but a little bit pickier. Okay. Health is more important in this regard. Places that'll kind of shine through this Plutonian sort of transition into the Virgo dwad is Switzerland, Eastern Mediterranean, Paris and Lyon in France, Crete in Greece, Turkey, again, Germany, especially Heidelberg, Boston, North America. I think that means Boston, Massachusetts. Places like the libraries, closets, health farms, dairies, cornfields, granaries, malt houses, hayricks, barns, and anywhere that's been plowed or cultivated. That also probably also includes hospitals, cleaning facilities. What else can I think of? Nursing homes. Okay, I didn't put that in there. March 1, 2036 goes into Libra. This will be more of a peace-loving feel to it. Okay, cooperation, being more persuasive, companionable, refined, judicial, artistic, diplomatic, social, and suave. So more like the whole diplomatic approach. But negatively aspected, it'll be feelings of fickleness, finickiness, apathy, peace at any price, meaning denial of truth, pouting, indecisiveness, judgment, easily deterred, hypocritical, so hypocrisy. Again, this is the future, so much of human will probably change by this time. Things of the body that will be affected: kidneys, the lumbar region, endocrine system. Let's see here. Light food as well will be part of this one. Things that are very comfortable, kind of like Taurus, but more vegetable, kind of like light feel. So anything that includes, let's see here, watercress, strawberries, milk, honey, fruit, wheat, artichokes, asparagus, spices. Anything that gives that sense of balance, sort of like people might become instead of just fully vegan, maybe switch more vegetarian or maybe a different approach to it. This will also be a time when people might feel like I need to rest. Okay, this will be the 20th degree of Aquarius, I believe so. So that means that it will be in its final phase, final decan. Okay, for those who don't know what decan is, it's every 10 degrees in each sign. Okay, places to that might be. Oh, did I mention? Oh yeah, I did say physically. I mentioned that. Places that might shine in this regard, or places that might go through a lot of changes, especially at a core level. Argentina, Burma, China, Tibet, Vienna and the Alpine region of Austria, Lisbon in Portugal, Arles, I don't know what that is, in France. Large places with large cruise liners, barns, windmill, outhouses, saw pits, top hills, or the side top hills, mountain tops, anywhere there's clean air, sandy places, gravelly fields where bird hawking was performed, or practiced rather, inner chambers, attics. This could anywhere there's lots of quiet and harmony and peaceful places, kind of similar to Cancer. April 16th, 2037, it'll go into Scorpio. So that means it'll be right at home with this layered dwad in Scorpio. Okay, people might feel a bit more motivated, penetrating, private, resourceful, determined, scientific, investigating, probing, passionate. But on the negative level, there might be vengeance, there might be intolerance, temperamentalness, secrets, overbearingness, and violence, sarcasm, suspicions, jealousy. But it'll go darker than that. It can rise above that in Scorpio. And that means it'll transform even more, because there's opportunity for transmutation of any sort of trauma that we've gone through in the last decade or so. I mean, based on this reading. Things that'll be kind of more that'll affect us even more right now. What is it? 2037, April 16th, starting that point, is the genitals, reproductive organs, bladder, urethra, rectum, any sort of like toxin release, anything that releases toxins or any excess things in the body, poison. Okay. Things that people might start to get into are, again, more vegetables, spicy stuff as well, strong tasting food, very similar to Leo placement. Okay, the Leo placement, even the Aries one as well. Okay, places in the world that might shine through or go through this transformational process that is very Plutonian is Tibet, Norway, South Africa, Morocco, Uruguay, Syria, Cincinnati, and Washington, D.C. in the U.S. Anywhere there's desert islands, anywhere near water, sinking pools, muddy swamps, quagmires, marshes, caves, moors, gardens, orchards, vineyards. I don't know if kitchens are part of this one. Battlefields, especially where vermin and reptiles breed and rubbish is stored. Anywhere there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of... I'm saying these places, I'm just reminding you that when I state these places, it's more like where maybe there's an emphasis for change and transformation. March 30, 2039 moves into Sagittarius. Again, still in Aquarius, but it's going to have a dwad of Sagittarian. People might feel a bit more straightforward, more philosophy, freedom-loving, broad-minded, more into sports, generosity, optimism. People might feel a little more just and scholarly, enthusiastic, idealistic. On a negatively placed aspect to Pluto, people might feel argumentative, exaggerated, talking over people, over talkativeness, similar to Gemini, procrastination, self-indulgence, being blunt, impatience, gambling, okay, being pushy, hot-headed, that missionary sort of zeal, like I want to change the world, okay. Not that that's not happening right now. That is happening through Pisces. Things that might affect us on a physical level. Sciatic nerve, hips and thighs, pituitary gland. Okay. It is another starting point. It is fire, but it is a mutable sign, so that means it's not as strong, I would say. It is, but it's more spread out. It's thin, if that makes sense. Okay. Colors: dark royal blue, purple, yellow, green might affect us. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to too much. I'm already going through a lot of details, but well, let's see. Okay. Things that we might get more into. I'm not going to mention the food, but maybe. Foreign foods. Maybe more sort of like less common foods. Bilberries, chicories, okay, vegetables with bulbs, currants. People might get into food that is a bit more, ooh, that's different. Okay. Places in the world that might shine through this transition and transmutation, transformation, and regeneration is China, India, Spain, Australia, especially Sydney, South Africa, Arabia, they said Arabia, I'm thinking Saudi Arabia, Madagascar, Stuttgart in Germany, Tuscany in Italy, the region, and Toronto, Canada. Okay. Places particular to, at this point, will be foreign places, stables, great houses, fields, hills, and high places, upper rooms, and fireplaces. This also includes wide open spaces, by the way. Foreign places, so traveling might be a push for humanity here. March 17, 2041, it goes into Capricorn. Okay, this will be a bit more grounded. People might be a little bit more cautious, responsible, scrupulous, business-like, perfectionist, traditional, practical, hardworking, economical, serious, reliable, and conventional. On a negatively aspect, planet 2, Pluto, we might feel a bit more unforgiving, fatalistic, mind over heart, stubborn, brooding, inhibited, cold, status-seeking, ambitious or overambitious, judgmental, domineering. Things of the body: knees, skin, skeleton. Things that we might be more into are onions. Meats, again, is part of this one. Salted nuts, potatoes, beets, barley, malt, starchy foods, quinces, spinach. Places of note: Afghanistan, Mexico, Northern Macedonia, the Shetlands, especially Orkney, that's in Scotland, Greece, the former Yugoslavian area, Belgium, especially Brussels, Oxford, and England. Places that are high up, mountains, hills, barren, rocky places, high barren, okay? Low and dark places, quarries, storehouses, sheep and cow pens. Okay, thresholds, anywhere there's thresholds, a limitation, because this is very Saturnian feel. Tool sheds, old lumber piles, fallow fields and thorny places. Again, kind of like Sagittarius, but people might also feel a bit more toward that whole, I'm going to keep quiet, I'm going to work on things a bit more practical, so more hands-on things. Okay. Focus more on career as well. Last but not least, that's it. Once it goes into Capricorn, after that, March 10, 2043, it goes into the new sign itself. Not a dwad, an actual sign. So into new sign, Pisces. Okay? So I think that's it. That was a lot, I know. I thought I wasn't going to go into that much detail, but I did. So I hope that helps. I hope the dates, you got the dates there. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be putting the dates below. Remember that these are entry points, not necessarily including the retrograde and the direct transition of Pluto into the dwads under Aquarius. Okay? Hope that was helpful. Hope you enjoy. That's just a little bit of fun I wanted to go through. Thank you for watching. See you guys later. Bye.